Hey, hi. I am in a new location of my house because this is where the best lighting is today, I think. Could be wrong. We just got back from our vacation 2 days ago. Yeah. And it has been kind of busy. The whole time we were gone, my sister had sick kids. My kids were sick, just crazy sick. We were so grateful to have my sister take care of them, but they hadn't been sick for months, and of course they get sick the moment we leave for the first vacation we've gone on in so many years. So we went to Cancun. My sister took care of my sick kids, and now I'm home with a sick kid. So it's just been kind of like, However, we went to an all-inclusive resort. I'd never done it before. It was great. We booked it through Costco here, and it was the Hilton Cancun Resort. And they had all the food, all the drinks you could think of. And we left one day and went to Isla Mujeres, which was really cool. I got to hold a lemur, which, what? There's a reel if you want to see it. I do have a short setup here on YouTube, but it was just kind of this weird, crazy experience of my husband and I haven't had a break, really, like a break together since we had our kids. And that's, our oldest is 5. So it's been years and years of just taking care of kids, which is, what you do as a parent. But we needed some time, and it was a great 5 or 6 days of just doing nothing, which is kind of not what we do when we're home. And so I was able to read 2 books uninterrupted, which was amazing. I wasn't sure what I was going to read. I packed only my Kindle, and I had downloaded a bunch of books before I left. And while we were in one of the airports, I saw that there was Happy Place by Emily Henry, and I had been wanting to get out and get a physical copy of it. And of course, my one bag got lost. They found it now, but it's still not here yet. And my physical copy of Happy Place was in my bag. That got lost, which is fine because I finished it. It is by far 5-star review. It's going to be on my top list, and I don't think it's because of vacation. It was a great one to read on vacation. I could not put it down, but it was a story that was so nuanced. I don't read a lot of romance, but this one had, that's what I love about Emily Henry, is hers has such different substance, where it's not just the romance. Of course, the romance is a big part of it, but it was also this things are changing in these lives of these people who have been friends since college, and now they don't know if they're even things are so changing. The place that they go on vacation every year is now being sold. So this is basically their last hurrah at this place that they have come together over the years. The main character, her and her fiance, have split up but didn't tell the group because they were all friends, and then the other friends are getting married, and they're we only want to get married because you guys are the it couple, blah blah blah. So they're all kind of keeping secrets from each other, and miscommunication, which is actually kind of I know that sometimes the trope of miscommunication can be used not well, but this felt so real because it's this thing where you're so afraid of change in your adult experiences and your friend groups and things in your early 30s. And that was something that I went through with my first son, and the feelings are still raw for me because I felt so connected to the characters, not just one. I felt connected to all of them. And it was just something where it was so hitting resonantly with me that I think I loved the romance in it, which is weird. I was, of course you got the romance that any romance has got to have have that kind of thing, but I loved it. It was exactly what I needed at the right time. It just also made me feel not alone. And I think that was the big thing, is that when I had my son, I was the first one in my, group of friends to have him. And I struggled so much with postpartum depression, but I also struggled with the fact that my life was changing, but I didn't want it to. I was like, I have a kid, but I'm still the same person. And what I didn't understand and realize is that no, like, you can be the same person, but your life changes. And I was fighting that. And my friends, like this one, had a trip. My friends and I took a trip where like things just changed in my mindset for me. And luckily, obviously I have amazing friends and we got through it, but it was just kind of like at one point where I was like, oh, this is real. Like my son has to be my priority, and life is different. And it was kind of that wake up call for me. So this really hit me in such a way that I think other books might not have. And it's one of those things where I'm finding that I love books that connect with my lived experiences. And that is really interesting to me. Like, I'd love to go back in time and like see what, like, if it was, like, I know that when I read romance when I was younger, I like yearned for romance. And so all the romance stories were just like, oh, so wonderful. Like, Jane Eyre is probably one of my favorite books ever. I shouldn't say probably, it is. And what I love so much is that they go through trials and tribulations where, they start out where they hate each other. And then, through the course of the story and their trials, they make so many mistakes. I mean, come on, Mr. Rochester lies to Jane and has a secret wife. I mean, his wife is still alive. And in the end, after everything, they choose each other. And the, pivotal line of "Reader, I married him." It just feels like, I'm getting goosebumps thinking about it. So when a book hits, it hits. And this one, Happy Place, hit. I can't say it's like my number one book of this year, but it's up there. It is up there. I need to sit down and look at all my books and be like, yes, this is it. But May was slow reading, but has been some really good books. Like, so after I finished Happy Place, we had visited, like I mentioned, we had visited Isla Mujeres, and I saw some haciendas, and I actually saw them in person. So I thought, I've had this book on my list for a while. So I read The Hacienda by Isabel Canaz. My Spanish pronunciations are not great. So, yeah, I got Hacienda because I was listening to the audiobook and reading it. So it was really kind of nice, because if we were sitting on the beach, I could read, but if we were, walking or doing stuff, I could listen. So I did kind of a tandem with that one. And The Hacienda was a story about a woman who chooses not love, but chooses, kind of, her situation is that, if she doesn't get married, she has nothing, back in like early 1800s. And this was kind of the way the author was exploring with the history of Mexico. And so she, gets married to this, the owner, like an hacendado or hacendado. I can't remember the name, but the person who owns the hacienda. And she goes to this hacienda, and there was his former wife seems to be haunting the place, but we're not really sure what's going on. And I liked it. I loved the way that the author, wrote the descriptions, like being able to see the stuff. I think that helped too, being able to see, the the agave plants, that they make tequila and everything from, but being able to see that on top of being in the environment. But like, she wrote it so well that even not being in the environment. I would have seen it, but it was so cool to see that. So I loved the way that she described things, and I loved how she weaved Spanish words and heritage in with the story. But the characters fell flat. I think I gave it a 3. And it was good, just it's not going to be one that I'm going to remember that I read it on vacation, but I'm not going to remember everything. The romance in it, I know that Gothic novels can have, you know, some really unlikable characters. They're really well known for, you know, the twisted, you know, anti-heroes and things, but I just did not care for the romance. It just made it honestly made no sense. I didn't see it. It was more like romance out of convenience, and then I don't know, it wasn't my favorite. But however, it was still really well written, and I do want to pick up, she's got another book coming out about vampires. I think it's like Vampires of the El Norte. Don't quote me exactly because I can't remember, but that one's coming out, I think, in August, and I will pick that one up. I want to give the author another go because she did write well, and there were some really creepy scenes. I had some nightmares. And if a book can give you nightmares, you know it's good. Like, and I did like it, just not everything worked for me. But it's one that I would recommend if you like things like Mexican Gothic, if you like Wuthering Heights. It had a lot of Wuthering Heights vibes to me. I still have not, I've not read Rebecca by Daphne du Maurier, and apparently this was a retelling. I don't know. I can't say to that because I've never read Rebecca. It has been on my TBR since I was like a teen, as has House of Leaves. I have had House of Leaves since I was a senior in high school and have yet to read it, even though I listened to Poe's album that goes with it all the time, even now. Like, I've listened to it the last 25 years. So yeah, it was funny because I think that one and one other book so far this month have been my worst books, but like, I've had really, really great books this year, or this month of May. And I'll talk about those in my wrap up, but just enjoying, I'm back taking care of my baby who is stirring. So I shall see you later. I just wanted to update and say, hey, I'm back from my lovely vacation. I have a little bit of a tan. You can't tell in this, you know, because I am not great in my face. I put a lot of sunscreen on my face, but I have a really, really heavy tan. Oh, you can kind of see it in my arm, and you can see my lovely tan mark. But yeah, if you like this video, go ahead and hit subscribe or like. I really appreciate them. And let me know if you've read Happy Place yet, or if you've read The Hacienda and what you thought about it. If you felt the same, or if I could see it in a different perspective because of the culture, because that would be really interesting. I'd love to hear that. All right, have a great day. Bye, guys.